Broadcasting from Oklahoma, the tornado capital of the world, home of the Oklahoma City Thunder and the University of Oklahoma Sooners. This is the Curated Experience Show, a weekly podcast about the customer experience with viewpoints you will not hear anywhere else. And now your host, author, and customer experience expert, Amos Tanuma.
Thank you for joining us in another episode of the show. I am your host, Amos Tanuma, and I have got two guests. They were on with us last week, and they're back again. Brian and Ted. Brian and Ted, are you guys still with me?
We're here.
We're with you.
I called them the people guys, and I called them crazy in last week's episode. And to give you guys, those of you who haven't listened to that episode, I really encourage you to go listen. But a quick recap: the theory of the case is the contact center agent job sucks. We all agree. You've read the comments. You've talked to your own agents. You know that it is a tough job. And Ted and Brian have a sort of point of view that says it doesn't have to be. It can be a very meaningful job. It can be a really great job if you just got us, the management and the tech people, out of the way. The job doesn't have to be this grind. And I asked them last week about a magic button, and they promised they have one, and they will be given to us today. And all of our listeners can go download it, and voila, all your people problems go away. So I'm being tongue-in-cheek, obviously, but welcome back, guys. Really glad to have you guys back, and you guys dropped some knowledge and insights. Yeah, and so we're ready to go. So let's jump in. I want to pick up on the conversation we left off. I think you guys made a terrific case for everyone who listens to this show why you have to go focus on this thing. And I don't think we're going to get lots of disagreement. We have a very vocal audience. They write in all of the time. So to the extent there are disagreements, you will hear about them. But I think we're all in agreement. So today I would love to really focus on how do we do this thing? And to frame it, I think it was on a show with our mutual friend, Lucas Anderson. Yeah. And it was on that show that this whole phrase around, customer service, specifically the human-to-human part, is harder than rocket science. That was, I think it was a couple of years ago, was when we came to that conclusion. And what Luca ended up saying on that show was that there are actually formulas on how to launch a rocket into space, right? Not saying it's easy, but there is one. But when you get two individuals in a room or on the phone or on chat, there are no formulas. It doesn't seem like there are formulas to make that rocket go, in the way we want it. So would love to, as you guys have been on this journey for a while now, would love to hear, what have you learned that has helped you in cracking this very hard give that most companies, from what I can see, have just said, too hard, we're giving up on it, we'll buy technology instead. Give our audience some hope that you can solve this. There is a methodology to do this. There's a journey you can get on that'll get you really good at it. So you guys can start wherever you want, but that's really what I want to get to, is the how. Do I need $10 million? Is this one of the CRM things I got to go buy? What does this look like if I heard this and I wanted to get on this journey?
Yeah, I'll just start, Brian, real quick and just say that, first of all, we'll always be open to $10 million solutions. Right off the bat. I'll tell you that. And we'll start there and go from there.
We only need one.
Yeah, we'll do that every week. But I think from our perspective, and we've been in the industry a long time, so we understand that technology has its place, and it's no knock really against technology because it has done a lot of good things for the agent-customer relationship. But make no mistake about it, we are focused on the agent experience, but not exclusively. We believe that is, as they say, where the rubber meets the road. You have to be able to have a great experience. And so the question becomes, what is a great experience? And there's all these different things you go through in our industry to figure that out. But it all comes down to asking one simple question. Isn't somebody calling in to get help? And if they call in to get help, aren't you helping them, right? And so why is it so hard? If I called you right now, Amos, and I said, hey man, I'm having trouble with the setup of our, conference here. Can you help me? You'd help me. You'd say, yeah, man, that's great. Let me try to do this. But if you go to work that day and I'm paying you to do that, why do you not suddenly do the same care, concern? Hey, it's great, friendship. You would help a person on the street, a person walking up. What time is it? You'll give them the time. You'll do all these wonderful things, help them with directions. But all of a sudden now we're paying you to do it and you're suddenly not doing it. What's up, right? So I think that fuels a lot of the simpleness with where we are in our solution, is that it's not about doing something. Our solution is to stop doing a lot of what you're doing. But where we believe we have pioneered things is we have come up with ways of finding out what to stop doing, because you can't just simply stop everything. The first question we often get is, so what are you saying? I got to raise everybody's wages? What are you saying? I got to quit doing this? Are you saying?
It's on my list.
we're not saying any of that. What we're saying is
pizza parties.
Yeah.
Gift cards. No. Ping pong table.
No.
Yeah.
No,
we got stuff.
Yeah. It's not that. It's not that.
It is not that.
Let me just tell you this. When we said in the last episode that we ask in focus groups different questions, and one of the questions is what makes a great day for you? I don't think in the thousands of and you look at the surveys we've done, the employee sat surveys also, so tens and tens of thousands of survey results. And never once have we had somebody say, give me more ping pong tables. We've never had them say, we think the best part of our day is the ice cream social, right? And if you ask them what the worst thing is, they have never said, I don't have enough ice skating rinks. We don't have enough free time, right?
I got a fever.
But what they say is, the best part of my day is when a customer says, for example, you solved my problem, nobody else could. My worst part of the day is when the systems go down in the middle of talking to a customer and I have to tell them I can't help them. So it's the converse of, it's two sides of the same coin, is I want to help people. And there's this time when I can help them that I feel amazing. And there's these most of the time when the job stinks, as you say, that I can't. And at some point, an agent just says, enough's enough. And I'm going to, either begin phoning it in because I don't want to deal with all this crap, or I'm going to leave because grass is greener at another company. They might have it better where I can actually help somebody, which is what I thought I was supposed to do. So
yeah. And it's great because I still remember, you remember these key moments and stories where this woman, she'd been doing the agent job for 10 years. Right. And she said, I love my job. I love helping people. I just wish my company would let me do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like,
it's so heartbreaking.
Oh my gosh. Like,
get out of my way.
That was such a powerful statement. Like, wow, are we making this the problem? And so as I mentioned, at the end of our last podcast, as much as you have this latent potential, especially in the service industry, but everybody wants meaningful work, but especially in the service industry, wow, for it to be meaningful because they can help other people and make a difference in their lives. And oddly enough, it comes naturally. So as much as we want to put all this science and manipulate all of that, it actually happens when it happens authentically. Right. It's the best. Right. And so allowing it to happen authentically. The challenge is this other concept that we called grind. Right. Where we say our simple definition of grind is the desire to help a customer but being prevented in doing so. So there's many causes. It's, hey, I'm going to overscript this. I'm going to do QA checklists and all these different process procedures.
Credits. Yeah.
I have these uncustomer friendly policies. I don't have enough information.
Multiple
systems. They change that on me, multiple systems. But still the number one thing is the manager, is management, is the number one killer of grind, because they'll focus on something different than meaningful work.
Well, let me just tell you, and here's a classic response we've gotten before. Yeah. My job would be great if I didn't have any employees, right? As a supervisor. I've gotten that, and I love my job as a supervisor.
just if you got rid of the people I have to manage, I'll be a great manager.
I'd be a great
Yeah.
manager, right? And why? Because my job is the spreadsheets. My job is to make sure that I have, as we say, butts in seats or whatever it is. Now, what's funny about that is you get that up front, you sit them down and you say, you as a supervisor, tell me what's a great day for you.
Yeah.
I have never yet once not heard the first shot out of the audience or the group that says it's when I can help my team members.
Oh, yeah.
What's a
Yeah.
bad day? I can never help my team members, right?
Mm.
So it's not just the agents. And so where Brian's headed,
Right.
grind affects everybody, and
Yeah.
it cascades through the organization.
Wow. I mean, there's so much there, but Ted, I gotta do what I've got a 16 about to be a 17-year-old son, and I used the term phoning in the other day, and we agreed it's texting it in now. That's because it's
All
like,
right.
what's that? You got to pick up the phone.
I
But
got
no,
it.
this is such music to my ears. I mean, if I'm to sort of do a playback, it's this notion that, because I think when I was last week, I was thinking, gosh, where is this going? Is this now that it's becoming clear, I got to believe everyone's listening to this is becoming more hopeful, because the barrier of entry of making this change seems very low. Because to kind of go back, it's this what to stop doing, and there's a methodology we're going to get into. But I want to tell you guys a story of my own that still hurts my ego till this day. It's 2004. I was working for an outsourcer, and in the same parking lot I was in is a McDonald's, virtually in the same parking lot. And I was losing employees who would leave my contact center and take over $1 pay cut to go to McDonald's. You cannot overestimate how crushing that is to your ego. So I am the ops manager at the time, and I call these agents, and we sit down, and that was my moment about the people. And what they basically said was, my job was a significantly worse job than flipping burgers. You cannot imagine how crushing that is for less money.
Yeah.
And when it boiled down to it, when I asked for more specifics, it's exactly what you guys are saying. I can't service the customers. I got to make sure I've not spent enough time with them. Is my transfers this? Is my this? I'm over here thinking I can't do it. It says here, I don't have any of that. Yeah, there's some productivity, but you know what? The customer comes in, they want it all, and I just do it. I'd like to make that much money and not be on my feet the whole time, but I got to just tell you, I feel like I'm making a bigger difference here. And not to belabor that point, that is what you were saying, which is then you drive people from doing what they're naturally able and what they came to do to the point that they just go, you know what? I'm going to go somewhere else, leave this industry altogether. And that is preventable and something we should all sort of focus on. I would love you guys to pivot into folks who are listening to this. Obviously, reach out to Ted and Brian, and we'll have your info there. That I would just love us to spend the next few minutes we have a lot of time left, talking about places to start, resources you may not have. I'm just talking about the guy who's sort of like, I'm not really, those who want to fully engage, obviously reach out, but the people are just like, what are things I can just go do, or in your parlance, stop doing tomorrow, that will begin to have a meaningful impact as I go on this journey towards improving the agent experience.
Yeah, that's great. Brian, do you want to start, or you want me to jump
Go
in? 'Cause
ahead.
Okay. Well, I guess first I want to mention is that this idea of meaningful work is nothing you can drive directly. We've said that, and I just want to be specific because a lot of people will say, well, if meaningful work is the key, how do I drive me? And it's an industry. It's all about how do I drive that metric? And for us, in a sense, there is a metric, but it's one that I'll describe real quick because it's the key to the answer you're looking for. It's called meaningful moments. And when a person has a meaningful moment, you don't know it in the moment. You don't know it's meaningful. What you do is you reflect on it later. All the research will show you, and even on your personal experience, you'll think about it and you'll say, in the moment I was in, I didn't know. And it's later. Okay. So once I recognize it, then everything kind of changes. And there's things that happen in the brain. There's some dopamine that gets produced, and there's different things. But fundamentally, we suddenly say, hey, that was a great experience. It can be 1 minute after, it could be 1 day, 1 week after. Now, the problem with that is that the meaningful moments have to add up. You have to have enough of them to get to this thing of meaningful work. So people will try to say, okay, can we count the number of meaningful moments in a day? And I'm going to say, darn it, Brian,
Another metric.
got 5 meaningful moments today because I know that, yeah.
Brian, you've not had your 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's get one.
I'm going to write you up if you don't have a meaningful moment, and that's how our nature is, because we think we have to be in command and control. And the reason I say that is because meaningful moments are recognized later. And so what's the one thing you can do? And a lot of people should hear this as, oh, that's basic management. Yeah. Help people reflect on their day. Help them reflect. Help them remember what happened. So we'll give you a quick story. So I'm sitting observing a chat agent, and he's chatting away. And the person who was chatting with him discloses that she's chatting on behalf of her mother, who is in a senior care center.
Okay.
And it's a company covering, and lost a specific channel. The channel's not coming up. And it has Wheel of Fortune on, and she has to see Wheel of Fortune. And and so through this chatting, she discloses, yes, she's 96 years old. And by the way, I'm 72 or something like that. And so this agent fixes the problem. And she says, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm going to tell everybody in the senior center about this. We're going to fix it all. And he chats. He goes, great. She goes, thank you so much. And he chats back, thank you for thinking of the elderly and taking care of people. Wow. Right? Done. He just did it. Didn't do it for any reason. He chatted it. They have a system by which they immediately do surveys. And if you get a 10, a siren goes off because they're, it's chatting. You can do that in the chat center. He hit close, siren goes off, the whole team comes over and says, you just got a 10 on customer sat. In fact, she just wrote these comments in like 10 seconds afterward. This is the best agent I've ever talked to, on and on and on. He's like, wow. So they all run away. And I looked at him and I said, do you have any idea why you had that celebration? He said, yeah, I got a 10. I said, no, it's not. He looked at me and said, what do you mean? I said, it's because you helped somebody. You helped somebody. He goes, yeah. I said, why did you type that? Why did you type that at the end? He goes, because I take care of my mother and I know what it's like. And I said, there you go. Do you see? You took what helps you and you helped them. Now he's almost in tears. Now he turns flushed. Now he smiles and goes, this is incredible, right? But everybody running over and saying, you got a 10, did nothing. It's connecting people and helping them remember why you're in this job. What are you in it for? So as managers, as coaches, as subject matter experts, as people walking the aisle, this is what we can do for people. It's what we can do for each other. And obviously in this time we're in of, people isolated due to COVID and all these things, it becomes hugely important. And I think that's the first tip I would give for anybody.
Yeah. And I would say, of course, we're also in this business, and we can measure grind and measure meaningful work and identify areas of grind, but that's more of a process, and it's relatively simple. However, but the simple things that people can do today, because we talked about last week how we had tears from agents in the class. But we have even more tears from the supervisors because they're like, oh my gosh, now that I see grind, and this is the other thing that we hear, like, now that I see grind, dang it, I can't unsee it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, good, because they're like, now, and a lot of people had tears, they're like, I love my team, but now I realize that I'm the one causing grind. But now that I know, wait, if I can help them have more meaningful moments and I can kind of clear the path for that, that's awesome, because then their meaningful work starts happening also. So it's quite honestly, the biggest thing you have to do to capture this is a simple kind of mind shift. A way you look at this work. It's not about the spreadsheet. It's not about the metrics. It's not about all of those things. It is about helping your people help the customer. And then guess what? You get all the metrics. You get everything. You get the profitability. So if you just make that subtle focus shift, wow, it's amazing. And we've seen it happen. We're shocked on a regular basis. Even us, still shocked. We do almost nothing, quite honestly. We unleash something in everybody else, and they just run with it. It's just awesome to see.
Wow. Well, I wish I wasn't out of time. You guys will have to come back. We'll have to bring you back maybe in a couple of months after folks have gotten to listen to this and given us feedback. This is just beautiful. I think for me, my biggest takeaway in the conversations we've just had is this idea that if we just learned and take some of the things and the work you guys have done and then begin to implement them, I mean, really, it's about us getting the heck out of the way and then letting the human to human magic happen. And the purposefulness is about us being clear about the ways we've gotten in the way of that, and then being disciplined about continuing to not do that, because this is an advanced form of I used to run large contact centers, and I'll get everyone together and say, let's take away all this administrative task off the deal, and 3 months later the whole thing just goes
right back.
Like it's just I would be there. I'll be the VP. I'll say, stop doing that. You don't have to do this, and everyone's like, thank you. But it's because we didn't attack the real thing. All I was doing was trying to get more time for coaching. But coaching is just a symptom. What you guys are talking about is holistically this whole deal. So really appreciate both of you. What's the best way to contact you guys? Twitter? Where do you guys live? What's the
live
best?
On LinkedIn mostly.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Okay, we'll have all of your stuff online. Transcripts of this show and show notes will be available on our site. And thank you so much, Ted and Brian. And
well, thank you. I mean,
it's been a real pleasure.
You're on this mission now, also.
I'm it. You've got it covered. And for those of you listening at home, we will be back next week. Be good to yourselves and each other.
And until next time, remember, the experience is either random or intentionally curated. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to The Curated Experience with Amas Tanuma. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll join the conversation online by visiting us at curatedcx.com or at amastanuma.com. That's curatedcx.com or amastenumah.com. And please invite your friends and colleagues to visit our website or iTunes, where they can check this and previous podcasts. This has been a Bien LLC production. Check us next time for another edition of The Curated Experience.